Alright, does anybody know why they call this thing a duck? Any guesses as to why they call it a duck?
I do. Oh, okay.
Goes on water and land like a duck does. Who likes that answer? You guys ever seen a duck fly? Yeah? You guys want to see us fly? Who said yes? Get off the boat. If you see us flying, that means I've taken a turn off a bridge I should not be on, and those life jackets we were talking about earlier, we're not going to need them, because we're going to need a parachute. So no, that's not why they call them a duck. But if I asked you guys how to spell duck, how would most of you guys spell duck? D-U-C-K. If you guys were in English class, you'd be correct. But if you work for the government or the military, you'd be wrong. The way the government or the military spelled duck was D-U-K-W. The reason they spelled it that way is when GM built these things for the military, they put letters in front of it that signified certain things. D stood for 1942. 1942 was the year these ducks were designed. U stood for utility vehicle. Before this was a duck, it was an old utility truck, the old deuce and a half or 2.5 ton truck that the military had thousands of. Wow. K stood for all-wheel drive. I take this gear right here, push it all the way forward, all 6 of my wheels would start to turn. And then W stood for dual wheel axle. There are 2 powered axles on the back of the truck. So D-U-K-W, duckwa, is how everyone used to pronounce it. Eventually everyone just started calling these things ducks. So that's how they got their name. Now the question is, why did they make them? Well, have any of you guys ever heard of a boat called the Higgins boat? A couple of you? If you haven't heard of the Higgins boat, have you guys ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan? At the very beginning of that movie of Saving Private Ryan, there were a bunch of boats that were heading towards the shore. They were a little bit wider than this boat, a little bit longer than this boat, had a big door on the front of it. As soon as they hit the beach, that big door fell forward and all the guys came running out. Those were Higgins boats. And those boats were really good for getting lots of people and lots of supplies to the shore. The problem with those boats, though, is they're heading towards shore. If they hit a sandbar, that's as far as they could go. They couldn't actually go up and over that sandbar. So hit the sandbar, they dropped their door, all the guys would come running out. Problem. What usually happens after a sandbar? More water, or more deep water, actually. So if you're a soldier and you got 50 pounds of gear on your back and all of a sudden you find yourself back in 10, 15 feet of water, you got a problem. So basically the U.S. military needed something that could hit that sandbar, go up and over, get back into the water, drive up to the beach to unload all their supplies or soldiers. But also if the front lines had moved several miles inland, they wanted something to actually drive up on the beaches, get up on the main roads, and maybe drive 2 or 3 miles to the front lines. So basically they were looking for a boat that could go on land or a truck that could go in the water. So the U.S. military looked around, they found this boat designer from California and said, hey, can you design us a boat that can go on land? The guy said, I'll see what I can do. 28 days later, this is what he came up with. Instead of reinventing the wheel, what he basically did was he took the old deuce and a half or 2.5 ton truck, again, that the military had thousands of, put a bottom on it, put a couple more sides on it, put a propeller on it, put a rudder on it, turned that truck into a boat. Now, they really weren't too sure how successful they were going to be with them, so they only ended up making about 200 of them. They sent them around the country at different military bases for the guys to experiment with, play with, see what they thought of them, what they liked about them, what they didn't like about them. They didn't like a whole lot about these things. They were extremely slow, bulky, cumbersome. Nobody liked them. In fact, they didn't like them so much, they wanted to scrap the program and get rid of them. In fact, they were getting ready to scrap the program until one day in Provincetown, Massachusetts, there was a Coast Guard patrol boat that ran aground on a sandbar during a big northeaster. Huge cold front came through, the boat ran aground. When that boat ran aground, they tried to send other boats out to rescue the guys. Every time they sent a boat out to rescue those guys, and they got close to that sandbar, they either had the fear of running around on that sandbar themselves or capsizing because it was so rough out. They thought they were going to lose the guys. Well, there happened to be one of these experimental ducks in the area. Said, hey, can you guys see if you can rescue them and help them out? I will see what we can do. They drove this thing down the road, got to the beach, drove down the beach, through the surf, probably 7-8 foot waves to the beach, drove out to that sandbar where the Coast Guard patrol boat was, pulled up right alongside of them. The guys from the Coast Guard boat jumped on board the duck. They drove off the sandbar, re-engaged the propeller, drove up the beach, rescued the guys in about 5 minutes. So what no other boat could do, these ducks did in about 5 minutes. After that, the U.S. military said, you know what? We need to have a whole bunch more of these things. So throughout World War II, they ended up making about another 20 to 21,000 of these ducks throughout World War II, and were very successful with them throughout World War II. Now, during World War II, when all the guys were overseas fighting, who was back here in the United States building everything? The women, Rosie the Riveter, right? You guys heard of Rosie? All of the ducks that we have here at Chattanooga Ducks are actually original ducks. None of them are reproductions. So all of our boats were built over 70 years ago, built by women, still running strong. Wow. Woo! Go girls.
That is amazing right there.
Now they are a little high on maintenance.
You know why? I rode a boat before. This thing can go.
All right, but they are still running strong. So, all right. No one was from Chattanooga, correct? I didn't remember. Well, I moved up here from West Palm Beach, Florida, probably about three and a half years ago. I thought Florida was hot during the summertime. It doesn't compare to Chattanooga. These mountains kind of trap the heat here. It's get hot, muggy, sticky here. This time of the year, I don't normally give you guys an option. It is so hot here. We floor it down this ramp as fast as we can go. We hit the water, water sprays everywhere. We all get soaking wet, and usually everyone's thanking me that I cooled you all off. You guys good with that today?
Yeah.
2? You guys didn't realize you were signing up for Splash Mountain, did you? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my foot off the brake. We'll start cruising down the ramp there. When we hit the water, we're not hitting a brick wall. We are hitting that water. We will slow down fairly quickly. You up front here? Don't hit the piece of metal. In fact, you might want to put your foot, lean back, put your foot right on the seat there. That way you don't slide off. If you have purses, camera bags, souvenir bags, water bottles, things like that, be careful they don't go sliding off the seat. You guys in the very last row. You guys in the back row, listen up. Hold on. You guys chose the fun seat. When I hit the water, the back of this boat sometimes will bounce a little bit funny. If you guys are not paying attention, when I hit the water, I'll turn around, look back, make sure everyone's okay. 1 or 2 of you guys are going to be sitting on the floor. So it's usually the person with a camera phone, like I'm going to film this and get some great video. They put both hands on their camera, they put it about this close to their face, and we start going down the ramp. They're going, this is awesome, this is amazing. We hit the water, they go, yep, he said I'd be on the floor. So if you want to film, go for it, but just hold on with the camera, hold on to the side of the chain, the rail. If you want to put your foot on the seat in front of you, you can do that, or put it off to the side there to kind of keep yourself from sliding off the seat. We'll be good. As long as you're paying attention, we should be all right. All right?
Yes, sir. Right.
You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
You guys want me to go fast or slow?
Slow. Slow.
Did anyone say fast?
Fast.
Fast.
Who said slow?
I did.
Is this slow enough for you?
No, go faster.
Can I go a little faster?
Yeah.
Just okay, just a little faster. Anyone get wet? You barely got, did anyone else get wet? Just a little?
Very little, sir.
Maybe we'll have to try it backwards at the end of the trip. I'm pretty sure you guys in the back will get wet then.
This ain't good.
Alright. To do me one big favor. Throughout this trip, for the most part, I'm going to be looking back at you guys, talking to you, pointing things out to you, not necessarily looking where I'm going. Since you guys are already facing that direction, if you see me about to hit something or run something over, I'd greatly appreciate it if you let me know. Right now, my Coast Guard record is perfect. I really want to try to keep it that way. All right? Thank you. Well, Chattanooga's got a very interesting history in the sense of how it's grown up over the years. Because of this river here, because of the railroad system here in Chattanooga, Chattanooga was very prone for industry. Because of the river and the railroad system that was here, it was usually pretty easy to get supplies into Chattanooga. And once those supplies are made into products, it was usually pretty easy to get those finished products out of Chattanooga. So Chattanooga very naturally grew up as a very industrialized city. Especially just before the Civil War, the industry was just starting to take off here. The railroad system was really starting to come into its prime. Once the Civil War started, the Confederate Army kind of used Chattanooga as a main hub. Because of that railroad system that connected the Atlanta area and the Kentucky-Alabama area, Chattanooga kind of became that central part of their supply line, very vital to the Confederate Army. One of the reasons why the Union Army said, if we want to win this war, we need to take over Chattanooga. Once the Union Army did take over Chattanooga, they ended up using Chattanooga as their launching point for the invasion of the South, their march towards Atlanta. Once the Civil War was over, a lot of those Union soldiers came back to Chattanooga for a couple reasons. One, Chattanooga had always kind of been a very Union-friendly city. They figured they'd probably be welcome back here. But two, they saw the potential for growth. They saw industry was starting to take off here. They saw how easy it was to get supplies and products in and out of Chattanooga. They figured they came back to Chattanooga, reinvested into this city, they'd be able to make some money. And they were correct. Over the years, industry grew and grew and grew. And by the 1950s and 1960s, Chattanooga had become one of the top 10 most industrialized cities in the United States. It was booming here. Just in the downtown area, there are probably over 100 different factories working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was great here. Businesses are making money, factories are making money, all the other shops around town were making money. Everything was going really good here in Chattanooga. Everything except for one thing. What is the byproduct of all these factories making their products? Pollution, waste. The pollution during the 1950s and 1960s here in Chattanooga was horrendous. On a normal day, those mountains behind us right there, you might not be able to see those mountains because there was so much haze and smog in the air. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I might actually be driving around with my headlights on because it was so dark out. People would do their laundry in the morning, hang it out to dry. By the time it was done drying in the afternoon, half the time it was dirtier than when you started with it. So it was terrible here. People were dying of emphysema. In fact, they used to call Chattanooga a two-shirt city. The reason they called it a two-shirt city, businessmen or people, when they would go to work in the morning, if they had to walk around outside for a little bit, go to lunch, if they had a business meeting to go to in the afternoon, half the time they'd have to change their shirt because it was so dirty and covered with soot, they couldn't go to a business meeting in the afternoon. So like, it was terrible here. Well then in 1969, I don't know, maybe half you people might remember this name, famous CBS Evening News reporter by the name of Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite in 1969 came on the CBS Evening News called Chattanooga the dirtiest city in America. Once Walter Cronkite called Chattanooga the dirtiest city in America, the U.S. government got involved. U.S. government sent some people down here to investigate and see what's going on. Once they got down here and just saw all these factories working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they went, there's your problem. Look at this pollution. We need to do something about it. All you factories that are running 3 shifts a day, we need you to cut it back to 2 shifts a day. We need to reduce the production so we can reduce the pollution. So they did. They started